Behold, my interlocutors of the tumultuous agora, as we commence an epistemological excavation into the throbbing absurdity of our modern-day cybernetic theatre, a theatre wherein destiny, the polymathic pontiff of Pali, collides once more with the spectral echoes of digitalized delirium.
Finish the song. What song? Why is Nick Fuentes trending? Apparently he got sucked off in the car seat by Destiny. People brought this up to me during my last stream, and I thought it was like a fake news story. So I joked about it and said, who do you think was holding the camera? But then apparently I guess it turns out it's real. So I want to iterate. You know, I want to make it clear I was not holding the camera. I think Nick was. I don't know, from what I've heard people say. Good for them, I guess. Rare to have a situation like this that was like equally embarrassing for both people. Not what we meant when we said. Doesn't seem like it was Nick Fuentes. If there's any contentions as to like the specifics of the story, I don't know it, and I'm not engaged in the discussion. It's all very funny, I guess, from a distance. He didn't sound like Nick at all. You watched it? I can't deal with. I don't want to. I'm not. I don't want to deal with this. It just feels like something we shouldn't even bother caring about. Just in a purely utilitarian sense, I think that there's some value to revealing that prominent neo because it causes infighting and leads to like breakdowns within their sort of group cohesion. The problem is that everyone already knew Fuentes was gay, so it feels like kind of a waste. You know what I mean? We didn't learn anything new. It'd be like if you were pulling this tactic back in the 1930s, in an effort to like, you know, break down the party, and you come out and you're like, I have evidence that Ernst Röhm, I have video of me sucking him off. Oh, is that so? Well, thank you for sharing that with the class.
The alleged tape, the whispered peccadillo of Homo ludens anarch-conservative darkling Nick Fuentes, now commands its moment in the court of public opinion, a court rife with performative indignation, gluttonous voyeurism, and a buffet of phantasmagorical speculation. Vaush, that vicar of vituperative verbosity, could not resist the siren's song of commentary, even as he pirouettes in half-hearted bemusement, averring that the matter both fascinates and repulses him in equal measure. What, then, is the sine qua non of this farcical imbroglio? Is it the putative licentious act itself, or rather the decadent modus operandi through which this pixelated chimera slithered into public consciousness? Destiny, the gladiator of dialectic arenas, and Nick Fuentes, the mascot of Machiavellian memetics, share the dubious honor of mutual humiliation in a spectacle that even Aristophanes would deem reductio ad absurdum star. Vaush, ever the opportunistic herald, appears less an orator than a reluctant town crier, genuflecting before the altar of controversy while trying to preserve his own sanitarium of plausible deniability. Lo! The whispers of clandestine recordings proliferate like bacilli in the petri dish of cyberspace, spreading far and wide through the virulent currents of social media streams. It is a tempest in a teapot, but one whose tea, dear friends, had been spiked with absurdities and ostentatious voyeurism. The interlocutor Vaush himself teeters on the precipice of incredulity and schadenfreude, uttering proclamations that oscillate between weary detachment and gleeful mockery. To him, it is less a revelation than a grim pantomime in which the principal actors must now reckon with the absurd finality of their notoriety. Should we for a moment pause and interrogate the salacious substance, or lack thereof, of this scuttlebutt, we find ourselves peering into the abyss of trivialities elevated to Olympian proportions. What, pray tell, does the alleged act illumine that has not already been laid bare? Vaush, in his commentary, rightly espouses the futility of this circus, for no epiphany or new moral vector hath been summoned from its depths. The outing of Fuentes as somehow sexually unorthodox feels akin to declaring the sky cerulean, a revelation that titillates not because of its novelty but because of the sordid context in which it now percolates. And yet, the machinations through which such content came to infest the collective psyche demands its own syllogistic scrutiny. Was this viral cataclysm a deliberate act of informational malfeasance? Or merely the chaotic convergence of foolish decisions made within the shadowy confines of private dalliance? The leaks, my compatriots, erupt like Vesuvius, raining down ashes upon all parties involved, leaving neither Destiny nor Fuentes unscathed. To Vaush, the tape and its aftermath represent a satirical portrait of ideological collapsibility, an own goal of historic proportions that will haunt the legacy of its participants like Banquo's spectral visage. Here emerges the paradox that drips like ichor from the heart of this digital psychodrama. Its sheer triviality is inversely proportional to the voracity with which it has consumed public attention. Is this not the essence of our era's nihilistic fascination? The inconsequential becomes monumental, and the monumental fades into obscurity, leaving only the echoes of collective bemusement. Vaush's sardonic tone, then, serves as a kind of metatextual commentary. He mocks the theatre while simultaneously playing his part in the pageantry. Destiny, ensconced in the labyrinth of his own making, remains the reluctant protagonist of this sordid ballad. His intellect, his analytic rapier wit, none of these defenses avail him when the public gaze shifts from his ideas to his fleshly foibles. And Fuentes, whose rhetorical foundation has oft been cemented in the architecture of performative stoicism, now finds himself hoisted on his own petard, reduced to an archetype of hypocrisy made flesh. Vaush, perhaps sensing the meta-irony at play, reduces his own engagement to that of amused detachment, as though he were Pontius Pilate washing his hands of the entire sordid affair. Yet let us not presume that the reactions to this controversy are apolitical. Vaush, ever the cunning strategist cloaked in mimetic irreverence, intuitively understands the utility of scandal in eroding ideological cohesion. For the far-right monolith that Fuentes represents, even the faintest whiff of hypocrisy functions like a fissure, through which the acidic tides of infighting may pour. It is less about the tape itself and more about the psychological carnage it leaves in its wake. To expose a leader's hypocrisy is to dismantle the pedestal upon which their followers have placed them. It is a gambit that Vaush, ever the tactician, implicitly endorses. In this festering carnival of human absurdity, however, we are all participants. The public, ravenous for schadenfreude and moral posturing, grants this melodrama its oxygen. Vaush, for all his performative disinterest, is no less culpable. He feeds the Ouroboros even as he scoffs at its appetite. Destiny and Fuentes become avatars of a far grimmer realization that privacy, in our digitized panopticon, has become a relic of antiquity. But let us digress not into fatalistic lamentations but rather dissect the inherent comedy in this. For what is this imbroglio if not a modern-day farce, one where none emerge victorious and all stand thoroughly embarrassed? Vaush's smirking detachment reflects this unspoken truth. There are no grand winners here, only losers who must now tread through the digital mud as audiences revel in their awkward shame. As the curtains draw on this vulgar exhibition, it leaves us with nothing but the acrid taste of futility. Destiny remains bruised, Fuentes diminished, and Vaush amused. Yet in this theatre of ephemeral absurdities, the spotlight will soon shift, as it always does, to a new drama, one equally pointless, equally grotesque, and equally human. The cycle endures, for ours is an age where substance is an afterthought, and spectacle reigns supreme.